rose, you'll need a yard of ribbon. This is 1.5 inch wide red satin ribbon. And then you'll need a needle and thread. We're using white thread so you can see it, but you'll want to use matching thread. We're using twice as much thread as ribbon. So this is a yard, the thread is 2 yards. We've got it doubled over and we've tied a knot at the end. We're going to get started by sewing 1 straight stitch along the bottom edge of the ribbon. I'm going to start with an extra knot here. I have the little knot at the end, but sometimes it pulls through the ribbon. So I'm going to secure it by just going twice around. And then when that loop comes up here, I'm just going to tuck my ribbon up through, or tuck my needle up through that loop. Now I've got a little knot there at the end. Now I'm going to sew. I'm just about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the ribbon, and every, I'd say it's about 1/2 inch, I'm going to go in and out of the ribbon. Just a straight stitch. And it's a lot of thread that we're working with, so you'll want to pull it every now and then. So we're just going to keep going in and out. Now I'm at the end of the ribbon. I've sewn at this simple stitch straight in and out the whole length of my yard of ribbon. And now I'm just going to start pulling the ribbon and scrunching it up. And this is why we doubled over on our thread, because this is a little bit of tension to put on your thread and we don't want it to break. And so I'm just sliding the ribbon down. It's not going to go automatically into the rose yet, it's just going to spiral. So we're just going to let it spiral however it wants. And I just keep pulling it like that, and then all the way to the end. It doesn't have to be real tight. It's still going to have a nice little wave in it, even without being pulled really, really tight. When you get to this point, we're going to tie a knot in the end here. That looks pretty nice. We're going to tie a knot here in the end, and the way we're going to do that is the same way we did it at the beginning. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go in and make a loop here out of the thread, and then I'm going to go in through this loop. And I'm just going to do that twice just for good measure. There's a loop in here if you can see it. There it is. Pull that into a little knot. And then I'm just going to trim off that thread. We're going to use that needle and thread in a second, but first we're going to manipulate this into the shape of a rose. So I'm going to let that knot be on the bottom, and working with that up, facing up, right? I'm going to start spiraling the ribbon around. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the part that's sewn and layering it around so it's in the center, and the edges that aren't sewn are on the outside. So this is the bottom, and I'm spiraling towards the table. And I can show you the other side. This side will be the top, and I'm again just spiraling it with the threaded side in the center. So I'm getting the thread going round and round, and you can see it there because I used white. You can see the thread going round and round, spiraling it like that. And I'm going to flip up those edges from the bottom. Remember, that was the bottom with our knot. So there, it's already looking like a rose. Now all we have to do is secure this so it stays together, because if you let it go, it's going to go back into that spiral. For this, you'll just use your same needle and thread, tie a knot at the end, and I've actually switched over to red thread because you really don't want this part to show. And I'm going to take that little corner that's showing in the center. You see that little end of the ribbon? I'm going to fold that under slightly, and then I'm going to make my first stitch come up through there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up and down through the center of this rose. So I'm going in through the back. It kind of doesn't matter which parts of the ribbon you hit, because you're going to do it a couple of different times, and so you're going to grab all the ribbon eventually. But we're gonna go up and down through the center. Whoop, I came all the way through. That's why I do that extra knot. Let's do that extra knot back here. So for the extra knot, I'm going to, see, sometimes the knot goes right through this ribbon. I'm going to go around in a circle, and I'm going to catch that loop. That was the loop that my knot tied. Let me do it one more time. Go around through, make a circle. It's easier to see with the white thread, isn't it? And then I'm going to catch this loop with my thread. Now I've got a little knot there. And now I can go up through the center and back down a few times. And if you have any little strings showing, like I can see that the ribbon is shredding a little bit there, I can just tuck that under when I sew it. So it usually takes, I'd say, about maybe 4 or 5 stitches back and forth to get that secured, and I can feel that's pretty secure already. You can also, on the back, you can do some extra stitches back here because they won't show, but this already is feeling pretty secure with just a couple stitches. So then you can tie this off and cut it off. And this kind of little ribbon rose is perfect to put it on a gift. You can put it on a headband for a little girl to wear. You can put it on a barrette. You can have lots of fun with that little ribbon rose.